Continuing here, I got to get caught up on my thoughts or I'm going to get buried in them. So I want to continue where I was. Loving quotes. Concealed love is worse than open rebuke, King Solomon in Proverbs, or one of his writers. Of course, King Solomon is responsible for putting out the Song of Songs and the book of Ecclesiastes. All great writing, I recommend. My dad used to say about love that love is the only medicine to heal the sickness of the world, and love isn't love until you give it away. My dad was a very wise man in many ways, and that's one of them. The most powerful force in the universe. Thank God for that. Thank God that love is more powerful than money, because that's the competitor, and one of these has to win out in our hearts. When the chips are down and we're standing before the judgment seat of God and he asks us, because he already knows the answer. He knows what's in our hearts. But he says, hey, what do you love more? Money or human beings? We all better be able to answer. As strange as it may sound, ultimate selfishness manifests itself as acute selflessness. And that might sound oxymoronic, but this is it. We're all selfish people. We care about being happy ourselves, right? That's selfish. Above other people, because we know that, hey, we're no good to help other people be happy if we're miserable. So, but when you realize it goes hand in hand, that being selfless is the key to being happy. So it's really a very selfish thing at the end of the day. So there's good logic behind being selfless human beings and caring very much about other people. On this day, that is today, if we cannot decide exactly who we want to be, then what's the point? See, we can beat ourselves up and live in the past, and we do that a lot. It's very common for human beings to do that. But really, only that day dawns to which we are awake. And we are choosing today to be who we want to be. And it's interesting to note that no matter how much you might think somebody else has a better life, and you look around and you say, wow, compared to my life, it's way better. And, we toy with the idea we'd rather be somebody else. But really, at the end of the day, each one of us wants to be only exactly who we are. That's it. We take full responsibility for everything we've thought, said, and done in life. And it's a part of our character, our makeup, or even if it's all mistakes. It was learning. We learned from those mistakes. Okay? And that's where we are today. We got to decide today that today is eternity. And that eternity is comprised of but a series of moments. And if we're in the process of we're in a rut and we're beating ourselves up, it's good to understand why we're doing that. The drivers, what causes us to seek escapist behavior, vices of every sort, to dissipate time and run away from reality as we're told. We should accept the reality, whatever that means. But there's reasons that God understands, but we may not. And if we query of him and ask him to explain to us our own behavior, because we don't understand, how could we do this thing, God? It's just bringing me down, man. I know. I mean, this is insane behavior. I beat myself up. It's like Einstein defined insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Why do I do this? Well, maybe you need to be in love. Maybe whoever said that being in love is a form of madness was wrong, that it's actually the opposite is true. But God can explain to us our own behavior, our own thought patterns, our own speech patterns when we ourselves don't understand them. And that's a big deal. That should be, really important to us to ask God, to consult him and get counsel from the Holy Spirit of truth, which we all have equal access to, this Holy Spirit thing, the comforter, the counselor. I mean, we're loved in ways that we don't think about regularly, and we should. We really should consider just how vast the love of God is toward us, how important we are as individuals, just puny little humans, one mere mortal, how we are his priceless treasure upon this earth. We're it. We're the apple of his eye. He wants nothing more than to successfully redeem the souls of men, to have good and loyal friends in his kingdom, and to bless us abundantly with all good things, only good things, and nothing bad. It's what makes sense. It's what's logical. And that's good news. It's music to anybody's ears. It's got to be. So you can't worry about who hears these things, this message of salvation and hope, victory over death. You've got to just share it. Give it away, and it'll come back to you. I get a great deal of peace out of sharing it, even if nobody listens. I mean, at least it's out there. Unequivocally, the single most critical component to keep maintaining the status quo establishmentarian trajectory toward death and destruction is destitution. It drives this beastly system and keeps feeding the beasts therein. Right, all these people that support this trajectory toward death and destruction, the ship of fools, aka humanity, because we're all stuck on this ship of fools. Some, like myself, are on it kicking and screaming and bitching and moaning and complaining. But nevertheless, we've been dragged on board. I have a cost of living, and nobody gave me a waiver. Nobody gave me an exemption. Nobody gave me an opt-out form. So all of us, all of us are stuck here. And you see, you're lucky if you know you don't want to be on it and you are kicking and screaming. You say, no, I want to be free. I don't want to be forced to be with these people that would enslave me, but yet here I am. And again, coping and contending with this mess always requires God's help. God counsels all of us, and all we have to do is ask for his counsel, and it's right there, man. The truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth is just a prayer away for all of us. And that's what we need to carry on. Can anyone logically explain why we call lamb, lamb, we call chicken, chicken, we call fish, fish, etc., but when we eat pig, we call it pork, or bacon, or ham, and cow, we refer to as beef. Just one of those little queries, those curiosities that I think of. Could it be psychological manipulation? Because people don't want to sit down and say they're eating a slab of cow or a cow burger. We're being manipulated. Who can deny we're so being manipulated? But, who's at the meat industry? Hey, well, it's my business. We won't sell as much pig if we call it pig, so let's come up with a better name. Pork, ham, bacon, parts of the pig. I'm not making fun. Listen, again, it's not a moral issue for me whether you eat meat or not. It's none of my, it's your body, And my dad used to say, because he would eat meat till the day he died or, pretty close to that, but he only eats the love out of it. So, mind over matter and all that stuff, I believe. Very personal. I just don't want to work in a slaughterhouse. Maybe someday, if I'm willing to work in a slaughterhouse, I'll start eating cows and pigs and lambs and chickens again. But if I don't want that job, then I don't want to make somebody else do that job. So that's that. Turns out God is a woman and also a man. God then is a man-woman. And I base that thought on the first chapter of the Bible, where God describes himself as male and female. Perfect. A perfect formula. Let us welcome and honor that sweet, soft voice that inspires us to yearn and determine deep down in the marrow of our hearts, soul, spirits, minds, and bodies to leave this world a little better for our brief visit. For this is God's will and the only criteria, the only certain path, to true happiness. In my mind, the definition of a good guy or gal is simply anyone whom wishes sincerely to live together on planet Earth in a perpetual state of universal peace, prosperity, freedom, and security. One whom honestly seeks and determines to actually fix our problems. That is, our collective problems. Instinctually, we humans understand through empirical evidence that God is a good God, that there is evidence everywhere we look, that confirms this fact. From our need to give and to receive love, to the awesome beauty of a flower, to the adorable nature of a newborn creature, to the unconquerable light, to our conscience, to all the sundry wondrous flora and fauna of this incredible planet, and our very existence tell the story of a good, loving, generous, almighty Creator God, our owner, our eternal divine parents. Due to overwhelming empirical evidence, it is flatly, roundly, and unequivocally impossible that there is no Creator. The next time you experience excruciating pain, remember to thank God for painkillers and not the inventor of the painkillers. After all, God invented the inventor, his or her brain, and the wherewithal to invent. So at the end of the day, it's always God to thank for everything good and don't blame for anything bad. That's the paradigm. That's the reality. The single most gratifying aspect of working, of serving, is being genuinely appreciated. Injecting the concept of money into the mix only serves as a real serious downer from the pit of hell. And see now what has become of us. That's right, man. God, we gotta learn to get off the junk, to just wean ourselves off the money, man. That's the key to happiness, man. That's when humanity is going to be happy. When there's no money and there's nobody that wants it. Okay, that is paradise. No way to get an advantage over others, and nobody that wants advantage over others. Okay, that's what we have to learn. That's the lesson for humankind. Having some hot cocoa, it's delicious. It's freezing butt morning. Barely morning anymore.